Imagine waking up one day and realizing that a single text message could land you in prison, or that wearing the wrong clothes could make you a criminal. Join me as I dive into some of the most brutal laws around the world that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about justice, freedom, and human rights. Let's start with a law that instantly shocks most people. In Singapore, something as small as chewing gum can get you fined thousands of dollars. Sounds funny at first, right? But here's the twist. Importing or selling gum illegally can result in heavy fines or jail time. This isn't a joke law. It's strictly enforced. The government believes it keeps the city clean and orderly, and for decades, this rule has shaped daily behavior. Now pause for a moment and think about that. In many countries, gum is an everyday item. In others, it's practically treated like contraband. And that's the point of this story. Around the world, there are laws so harsh, so unexpected, and so strict that they feel unreal, until you realize they are very real, legally binding, and enforced on millions of people every single day. Some of these laws were created to protect society. Some were born from culture, religion, or history, and some seem impossible to justify in the modern world. Yet they all exist. This story isn't about mocking other countries or calling any one system evil. It's about understanding how power, fear, tradition, and control can shape laws that feel brutal to outsiders, but normal to those living under them. As we move forward, you'll hear about laws that control what you wear, laws that punish what you say online, laws that dictate how you live, love, or even think, and laws that have triggered global outrage. What makes these laws even more unsettling is that many of them are not ancient relics. They're active today. The biggest question is not, do these laws exist? It's, why do they exist, and who do they protect? Because laws are supposed to create order, safety, and fairness. But when laws become extreme, they can cross a line, turning into tools of fear instead of justice. By the end of this story, you may find yourself questioning, what makes a law just? Should culture justify cruelty? And could something like this ever happen where you live? This is not just a list of strange rules. This is a journey into how authority shapes human behavior, sometimes in terrifying ways. And what you're about to hear next explains why these laws don't disappear, even when the world calls them brutal. The hardest part about understanding brutal laws isn't learning what they are. It's understanding why people accept them. From the outside, many of these laws feel shocking, outdated, or cruel. But from the inside, they are often defended as necessary, protective, or traditional. That's the challenge. Laws don't exist in a vacuum. They're shaped by history, fear, religion, politics, and power. And once a law becomes part of a system, removing it can feel like tearing down the system itself. Take dress code laws in certain countries. In places like Iran, women are legally required to follow strict dress codes in public. These rules are enforced by morality police, and violations can result in fines or detention. Supporters argue these laws protect cultural and religious values. Critics argue they violate personal freedom. So which side is right? That depends entirely on where you're standing. Another example is free speech laws. In countries like Thailand, insulting the monarchy is a serious crime under lèse-majesté laws. People have been sentenced to years in prison for social media posts or comments. To outsiders, this seems extreme. To supporters, it's about protecting national stability and respect. This creates a dangerous tension. Security versus freedom. Tradition versus individual rights. Order versus humanity. The real problem is that once harsh laws are normalized, people adapt. Fear becomes routine. Silence becomes survival. And over time, what once seemed brutal starts to feel normal. These laws don't just punish actions. They shape behavior. People learn what not to say, what not to wear, what not to question. And the impact isn't just legal, it's psychological. Families teach children how to avoid trouble. Friends warn each other what topics to avoid. Entire societies move carefully, quietly, cautiously. The most chilling part? Many people living under these laws have never experienced anything different. To them, this isn't oppression. It's life. And that's why brutal laws are so powerful. They don't need constant force. They rely on fear, habit, and silence. The challenge isn't just changing laws. It's changing mindsets shaped by generations of enforcement. So when the world criticizes these laws, the response is often defensive. You don't understand our culture. This is our tradition. This keeps society stable. And sometimes they're right. Stability exists. Crime is low. Order is maintained. But at what cost? That's the question we now have to face as we look at real examples. Laws that have shocked the world, ruined lives, and sparked global debates. Let's dive into some of the most unbelievable but real laws still enforced today. In Saudi Arabia, cybercrime laws allow authorities to punish online content that is considered harmful to public order or religious values. A single tweet or post can result in severe penalties. The goal is to control misinformation and protect societal values. But critics argue these laws silence dissent. In Japan, the legal system has been criticized for its extremely high conviction rate. Once arrested, suspects can be held for long periods before trial, often under intense pressure to confess. While Japan is one of the safest countries in the world, critics say the system prioritizes confessions over justice. Then there's China, where strict censorship laws control what people can access online. Certain topics, historical events, and opinions are heavily restricted. The government argues this prevents chaos and misinformation. Others argue it erases truth. In Switzerland, it's illegal to own just one guinea pig. Why? Because the law recognizes guinea pigs as social animals, and keeping only one is considered animal cruelty. Harsh? Maybe not. But it shows how deeply laws can reach into personal life. Each of these laws was created with a reason. Safety, stability, order, morality. But when enforcement becomes extreme, the law stops being a guide and starts becoming a weapon. The consequences are real. Careers destroyed, families separated, lives permanently altered. And yet, these systems continue. Why? Because laws are not just rules. They are expressions of power. One of the most globally criticized legal systems involves North Korea's collective punishment policy. Under this system, if one person commits a serious political crime, their entire family can be punished, sometimes for generations. This includes imprisonment, forced labor, or worse. This policy exists to prevent dissent through fear. Imagine knowing that a single mistake could destroy not just your life, but your parents, your children's, your siblings. This isn't ancient history. This is happening now. The global reaction has been outrage, condemnation, and disbelief. Human rights organizations have documented countless cases. Governments have spoken out. And yet, the law remains. Because in extreme systems, fear is not a side effect. It is the goal. This is the ultimate example of how laws can become tools of absolute control. And it forces us to confront a terrifying truth. When laws exist without accountability, anything can be justified. So what have we learned? Brutal laws don't always look brutal to the people enforcing them. They often begin with good intentions, order, safety, tradition. But without limits, laws can lose their humanity. The truth is, no country is immune. History shows us that laws change, governments change, and what seems normal today can be condemned tomorrow. The real ending isn't outrage. It's awareness. Because questioning laws is how societies grow. Debating justice is how progress happens. And the moment people stop asking, is this fair? That's when brutality becomes permanent. Now I want to hear from you. Backhand index pointing right, which law shocked you the most? Backhand index pointing right, do you think culture justifies harsh laws? Or should human rights always come first? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this made you think, check out the next video on the strangest laws ever passed in history. Because once you start looking, you realize the world is far more complicated and far more shocking than it seems.